Okay, so let's dive right in today. We're looking at Genesis chapter 39. This is where Joseph's story takes another turn. He's been sold, ends up in Egypt, in the house of Potiphar. An important guy, right? Captain of the guard.
Exactly. And what immediately jumps out right from the start of the chapter is this recurring theme. The Lord was with Joseph, even though he's a slave in a totally foreign place.
Yeah, and the text really hammers this home. It says, because the Lord was with him, he prospered. Whatever he did, it seemed to work out.
And it wasn't just some, internal feeling. Potiphar saw it. He recognized that Joseph's success came from God being with him.
Which leads to this incredible level of trust.
It really is incredible. Potiphar puts Joseph, his slave, in charge of his entire household, everything he owned. The text says Potiphar didn't worry about anything anymore.
Just his food. That's it. Pretty amazing responsibility for Joseph.
And it goes further. The blessing wasn't just on Joseph, it extended outwards. Potiphar's whole household, his fields, everything, blessed because of Joseph.
So Joseph's presence, linked to God's presence with him, actually benefited his master tangibly.
It's a physical manifestation of that divine favor. The text also makes a point of mentioning Joseph was well-built and handsome.
Right, and that detail, unfortunately, kind of sets up the next big conflict.
Potiphar's wife, she noticed him.
And apparently she didn't just notice, she acted on it, propositioned him directly.
Yeah, the text is blunt. Come to bed with me.
But Joseph refuses. And his reasoning is key, isn't it?
Definitely. He points out Potiphar's trust, how he held nothing back except her, his wife. But then he goes deeper. He asks, how could I do this wicked thing and sin against God?
So loyalty to his master, yes, but ultimately loyalty to God.
And she was persistent. It wasn't just a one-off suggestion.
No, day after day, it says. She kept pressuring him, but he consistently refused. Wouldn't even hang around her, it seems.
Until this one specific incident, he goes into the house to do his work.
And nobody else is around. No other servants.
And she sees her chance. She physically grabs his cloak, repeating her demand.
This is the crisis point. He has to act.
And he does. He doesn't fight. He doesn't argue. He leaves the cloak in her hand and literally runs out of the house.
Flees the scene. But that cloak becomes the evidence against him.
Exactly. She immediately uses it to frame him, calls her servants, tells them this Hebrew slave tried to attack her.
And then tells her husband the same story when he gets home. Claims she screamed, and that's why he ran off, leaving the cloak.
A complete fabrication based on the cloak he left behind while escaping her.
And Potiphar, he's furious, understandably, given what he's told.
The result is swift. Joseph is thrown into prison, specifically the king's prison. Quite a fall. From trusted manager back down to, well, lower than before.
Yeah, from running a household to being locked up. Drastic change. But here's that theme again, right when things look bleakest.
It circles back immediately. The text says, but while Joseph was there in the prison,
the Lord was with him, still, even there.
That divine presence wasn't tied to his job title or his freedom. And just like before, it leads to favor. The Lord showed him kindness.
And gave him favor with the prison warden.
And history kind of repeats itself, doesn't it?
Yeah.
The warden sees something in Joseph, puts him in charge.
In charge of all the other prisoners. And everything that happened in the prison.
To the point where the warden basically stopped supervising Joseph's work, just like Potiphar. Why? Because he saw the Lord was with Joseph, making him succeed.
So if you trace the path in just this one chapter, top manager, blessing others, then bam, falsely accused prisoner, then rising again to manage the prison, it's a wild ride.
Wild swings in circumstance. But the constant thread, according to the source, is Joseph's integrity and this unwavering divine presence leading to success wherever he was.
It really makes you think about what success or prosperity even means here. It wasn't tied to the location Potiphar's house or the king's prison.
Right. It seems tied to Joseph's character and that relationship with God, which remained stable even when everything else was chaotic.
Which leaves us, and you listening, with something interesting to chew on.
If the source of Joseph's ability to, well, not just cope, but actually succeed, wasn't his external situation, but this internal character combined with God's presence, what might that suggest about finding favor or even prosperity when you're facing your own challenges, your own kinds of prisons or difficult circumstances? Where does true success really come from?